sounds weird.
Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. I've just witnessed you trying to pronounce Cardiff's longest train station. I won't get you to do it. Not Cardiff, Wales is, sorry.
If it was Cardiff's longest train station, I'd be able to say it, wouldn't I? It'd be Rubina train station, probably.
Instead, we've got a word with about 50 letters in it. Anyway, we won't dwell on that too much. Barry?
I don't speak Welsh, that's the embarrassing part of it.
Is it like... See, I've got mates in Cardiff, and I feel like half of them can, half of them can't. What is the sort of more modern, my sort of age? Do people speak it more?
I think more do. How old do you know?
19.
Oh yeah, so I got a half brother who's 23, and he's from Cardiff, obviously, like I am, but they spoke Welsh in his school, so he learned English in Welsh.
Is that not weird that you guys weren't made to do it in sort of a...
No, well, I went to... So Protestant schools used to do Welsh in the junior level, but I went to a Catholic school, so we didn't do no Welsh at all. And, and then in senior schools, I think it was an option in Protestant schools, and never in my school. So we had an option to speak Spanish or French, but never Welsh. But not, I think now, I'm an old man, and so I think the last sort of 20 years they've realised that the Welsh language is more important, and I'd love to be able to speak Welsh, and I never made an effort. That's the truth of it.
Fair play, Barry. A lesson of the Welsh dialect for Boxing Social viewers. Joe Cordina takes on Shavkat Rakhimov for the IBF world title. A weird one I've been saying all week. Not many fighters get an opportunity to become a two-time world champion in their own in the same division while maintaining the zero. Can he do it Saturday night? In
the same venue, in the same ring, without losing. Which is mad, which is absolutely madness. It is madness, and I empathise with him because I never lost my title in the ring. Super featherweight, I was the last champion from our city before Joe took that mantle, which I'm happy for him. But I never lost my title in the ring, and when I got a chance to win my title back, I got battered. But Joe's not boxing the guy I box, thank God, and also Joe is a better fighter than I am, much better. And I can happily say that, and I think he will win on Saturday.
What do you think of Shavkat Rakhimov? We saw him in Abu Dhabi. Without meaning to be disrespectful to him, and I've gone over the fight loads and loads with Joey. Probably one of the weirdest southpaws you'll ever see, in the fact that he just doesn't box like southpaws do.
No, but I think Barrett showed some good signs. He didn't show a route how to beat him because he didn't win. But there were times he was winning the fight. He was boxing tremendously well. But Rakhimov has looked better than that. I think he took Barrett lightly. I don't want to take anything from Barrett. He boxed great. But I think he took Barrett lightly because he tried to walk him down with no smarts at all, and Barrett just played with him. And at times, the way Barrett would be able to line him up for that right uppercut and a straight right hand, which is and the left hook, which is too easy. And if he fights like that against Joe Cordina, he gets beat. But I think he'll be a better version of him. Like I saw Rakhimov from studying for the fight for the Barrett fight, he looked a better fighter than that because he gets close to you, and then he moves on the body, he gets on the side of you and works away. And he's clever than what he looked on that night. So it's going to be a hard night for Joe. For Joe, it's about being smart early on, making Rakhimov make mistakes, making him square his feet, and then start sitting down on your shots in the later rounds rather than the earlier rounds, which I think Joe might try and stop it early. And I think if he boxes sensible, he might get the late stoppage.
I think we're under a little bit of time pressure here, so we'll sort of rattle off as much as we can. We got breaking news yesterday that Conor Benn has been formally suspended by UK anti-doping. Potential consequences for Eddie Hearn, the promoter, if they sanction him abroad. Obviously, the UK anti-doping work with WADA and British Boxing Board of Control, especially on overseas territories. Your thoughts on it all? This has been a process that just seems to never end.
It never ends, and that's why it was always a case of wanting to see Conor, I think, face the board and get it all concluded. So, but at least something's happened now. He's banned, and at least we know where he is. I'm just fed up with it all because we all want Conor to be innocent, of course, but he still has to prove it, unfortunately, on his case, and he hasn't quite done that yet. I think he believes it, and if that's the case, but he needs to show us if he has that information, he needs to show us to it. But I'm so much done with it that I just focusing on the good stuff now.
I feel a bit tedious asking about it.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about like Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, and Lomachenko versus Devin Haney, and Josh Taylor versus Teofimo Lopez, and Chantal Cameron versus Katie Taylor, and Wood.
Well, if I did all that, the zone would never get to you.
And Lee Wood versus Lara, and Conlon versus Lopez, and all the great fights we've got coming up now in the next few months. Come on, let's talk. this is groundbreaking stuff for boxing. I mean, that is so good. Just forget about the heavyweights. Forget about Conor Benn. And like let them all do their own stuff. Let's worry what's happening in the ring. And if Conor Benn's guilty, just throw the book at him. And if he's not, let him fight. I don't give a shit. All I'm worried about is, and I shouldn't have said I don't give a shit, because your headline's going to be Conor Benn, I don't give a shit, isn't it? And if it is, I'll come look at you.
Well, that's it. That's not it.
Yeah, but let's focus on the good stuff, man. There's some brilliant stuff going on in boxing, and I want to. Like, that's all I care about.
Well, as many good fights as you mentioned, I would love to ask you about them all, but I don't have the time. The zone are eagerly waiting you. I am going to quickly ask you on the heavyweights. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, and then Tyson Fury against Oleksandr Usyk. Fury meant to fight Ruiz first. Just your thoughts on it? Do you realistically believe we happen? Once again, I do find myself a little bit tedious asking these big heavyweight questions time and time again when we haven't really seen it as such.
Well, you have to, but I think we're getting information. We're getting announcements about potential announcements, and that's the problem. And that's because of social media, of course. But I mean, until they happen, I don't care. I mean, you want to see them. The boxing needs the heavy division to flourish. We all benefit from that. All of us, from the fighters to the broadcasters to people like us who make a living from it. We need that. We need a heavy division to be flourishing. If they're there, they're there. I don't care where they are. If they're in Saudi, they thank the Saudis for getting it together, getting it all working. If they can, then I'm happy with that. But until that point, who gives a shit about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder? Put that as your headline.
Well, I'm going to have to use the shit in there. Barry Jones, always a pleasure. Thank you very much, good man. See you tomorrow.
Take care, mate.
Nice one, guys.